All for One's Guide to a Peaceful Retirement, written by Scottish Sunshine and read for you by Eleanor Elizabeth. Chapter 19. Find a Fun Hobby. Summary. Hazashi plays heroes and villains, and finds a fun hobby. Izuku is aged 5.
Foolish heroes! You thought your pathetic attacks would have any effect on me? Me? Leave now and I may spare you, but stay and your lives are forfeit. You know as well as I do, you cannot win.
Yes, we can! Izuku cheers as he jumps out from behind a tree. Penguin, Ingenium, let's work together! If we do, we can't lose, Tenya adds as he joins his friend. Hazashi is tempted to point out that no competent hero would be foolish enough to even attempt to monologue during a showdown with a powerful villain, or emerge from cover without a plan of attack, but he's not about to blast his son, now is he? Instead, he draws himself up to his full height and laughs the most unsettling, sinister laugh. He notes with some satisfaction that Tenya shudders, but Izuku is unbothered. They regularly play heroes at home after all, and it was fairly quickly established that Hazashi makes for a great villain. Penguin, freeze his legs! Izuku yells, and Hazashi smiles proudly as he realises the two boys were distracting him so Shoto could get in position behind him. Of course, he knew where the third child was, but still, a decent strategy that would work on a lesser opponent. Unfortunately, Shoto is still fairly new to the concept of playing heroes, and obeys. The layer of ice that covers Hazashi's shoes is thin enough that he could easily break through it with force alone, but that wouldn't be very fun. So instead, Hazashi gasps and flails dramatically. Izuku cheers. All right, Ingenium, now's our chance! Let's go! The two boys charge him and latch onto his legs, giggling, and Hazashi lets out a howl. No! How can this be? The mighty Alt 41 defeated! He clutches at his chest. You have discovered my weakness! Izuku's face is lit up by the brightest smile possible as he lets go and pulls Tenya away, and Hazashi can't help but smile himself as he dramatically collapses onto the ice-covered ground. Mr. Midoriya, are you all right? Shoto asks hesitantly as he approaches the adult. No, Hazashi sighs. I'm dead. Shoto! All four of them turn around to look where Rei Yukiyama has just emerged from the house, carrying a tray full of drinks. She turns to Tenya's mother, and would probably bow if she could. I'm so sorry, Ida. It's fine, the woman waves off her apology. I've been trying to get Takashi to do something about the garden. Besides, accidents happen, especially when you're having fun. Rei doesn't look convinced, but doesn't protest. Shoto sniffs and wipes at his eyes, and Hazashi is uncomfortably reminded at how new the boy is to playing with his peers. Izuku seems to pick up on it too, because he hurries over to his friend, excited. That was so awesome! You'll be such an amazing hero! Shoto glances up, and Tenya quickly joins them. Yes, a practical way to immobilize, Ida calls over. Immobilizes an opponent. Come on, let's have some juice, Hazashi suggests. Laying on ice-covered grass is only fun for a short period of time. He's really looking forward to discreetly using one of his heat-based quirks to warm himself up. He resists the urge to sigh as he sees Shoto inch behind Izuku, and instead smiles at the trio and gets to his feet. That was some pretty impressive teamwork, you lot. Thanks, Puffer, Izuku beams, and then he grabs Shoto's hand and drags him over to the two women, Tenya following close behind. You were pretty impressive yourself, Ida remarks as Hazashi joins them. I swear, you sounded so much like an actual villain, I got chills. Hazashi laughs awkwardly. Well, I get a lot of practice. Izuku loves playing heroes. Papa's a great villain, Izuku pipes up, and Hazashi quickly takes a long swig to stop from bursting into laughter. Where'd you come up with that name? Rei asks, and suddenly Hazashi wishes he had a better imagination. Alt 14. Alt 41, Izuku corrects her. Thank heavens for Izuku. Hazashi will buy him that limited edition All Might poster, he swears. He's an evil robot and he wants to take over the world, but his big weaknesses are hugs, so if you hug him, his battery drains, like a phone. Hazashi finds some solace in the knowledge that neither of the snickering women are aware of his true identity. Still, if he ever comes out of retirement, he might want to level Tokyo just to be safe. Reputation is vital to a competent villain after all. The boys quickly finish their juice and run off, jumping over the patch of ice. Rei and Ida exchange glances, and Hazashi suspects there might be a conspiracy in the works. Midoriya, when did you last take a day off? Hazashi frowns, puzzled. Today's my day off. I had last weekend off too. No, I mean completely off, Ida sighs. A day off from everything. Izuku included. I don't need time off from that, Hisashi snorts. He isn't sure what they're getting at. Have they not seen Izuku laugh? The two women exchange looks as if he's the strange one. What do you do for fun? Ida huffs. And playing heroes doesn't count. Quirk analysis? Hisashi fidgets as Rei winces and Ida groans. No, Midoriya, that's your job. What do you do for fun? Quirk analysis? The women exchange horrified glances. Midoriya, I think you should take a few hours off, Rei suggests gently. I have to watch Izuku. Izuku can come over to our place, Ida shrugs. He'll be safe there for a few hours, and if it'll make you feel any better, Kurogiri can come too, and hang out in the kitchen in case of the apocalypse. Hisashi is about to protest, but then Rei plays the trump card. Inko wouldn't want you to neglect yourself. Hisashi does not have much experience with hobbies. Professional supervillainy doesn't generally leave much spare time, especially when one is married with a small child. Just remembering Izuku's first months is exhausting. Which is why, when Kurogiri requisitions Izuku and vanishes off to the Ida home, he does not know what to do with himself. Doing origami for hours is not an exciting prospect. Kurogiri is likely to pitch a fit if he ruins another cake tin, and what do people even do for hobbies anyway? He's bored enough that he ends up sprawled on the sofa, remote in hand. The house is far too quiet without Izuku. If he has to suffer through this time to himself, he at least needs some background noise, damn it. Unfortunately, the first thing on screen is Endeavor's face. Fortunately, the remote narrowly misses the TV and just makes a hole in the wall. The interviewer is just asking the bastard about his family's disappearance. Hisashi cackles. Somewhere in Okinawa, All Might shudders. Enji Todoroki slams the door to his apartment with a muttered curse. Since his wife ran off with his kids, he's been living in a flat at his agency. It makes his life a hell of a lot easier, especially since he has to do so much overtime to pay the goddamn divorce lawyers that ridiculous fine. He extinguishes his flames and is just unbuckling his gauntlets when he flips on the light switch and freezes. The whole room has been trashed. Broken furniture is strewn about, loose pages cover the floor, and on the wall opposite the entrance someone has painted in huge black letters, "I know what you did." Endeavor has about 2 seconds of supreme confusion. Then the fire alarm goes off. Chapter 20. Cover your tracks. Summary. Rei wants to give her kids the best Christmas ever. Then she meets Midoriya's cook and realises something. Izuku is aged 5. Rei knows the past few years have been difficult, especially for her children, but this year will be different. This year she is going to give them the best Christmas ever. Last Christmas consisted of 2 buckets of fried chicken, a marathon of pirated Doctor Who on the battered laptop she'd bought third hand, and passing out around 2 a.m. Rei personally isn't sure she can ever top it. Christmas is expensive, but the least she can do is make sure all her kids get something they really want. She already picked up an iPod for Fuyumi and headphones for Toya. She's just on the search for a store that still has the All Might Silver Age action figure when she spots a familiar face. God, no. What if he sees her? What should she do? He's standing between her and the exit, and she doesn't know what to do. Can't breathe because she's happy, and she doesn't want to go back. She can't go back. How can she ever? Aiko! A familiar voice exclaims, and the man steps in front of her, perfectly placed so that Enji won't be able to see her. I had no idea you were here today. I'm Hisashi, remember? Inko's husband. Rei could kiss Midoriya. She settles on hugging him and pitches her voice higher. Oh, Hisashi! It's so good to see you again. How about we go get coffee and catch up, Midoriya suggests. It's been so long since we last spoke. Oh, yes, Rei giggles. I need a break from these crowds. She doesn't protest when her boss leads her further into the mall, away from Enji. They slip through the clothing store, hurry along crowded streets, and only stop after 15 minutes in a half-empty park. Midoriya heads off to get them some coffee, and Rei tries to stop her hands from shaking as she waits on a bench. Thank you so much. She does her best to smile when the man returns. There was someone there I'm avoiding. I know, Midoriya shrugs. Rei suddenly has a terrible sinking feeling. If Midoriya knows, if he suspects that Rei might cause him trouble with heroes, if he thinks she's too much trouble. I don't agree with domestic abuse, Midoriya shrugs, especially when children are involved. I was fully aware of your past when I hired you, and I don't give a fuck about Endeavor's lying ass. Ray stares for a moment in wonder at the man. Then she bursts into tears. It takes her longer than she would like to admit to calm down. Midoriya doesn't comment. He just pulls a box of tissues out of somewhere and allows her to cry herself calm, sipping his coffee every now and then and reaching out to awkwardly pat her on the shoulder. "Thank you so much," she chokes out as soon as she can. I can't tell you how much this means." "Don't mention it," Midoriya shrugs. They sit there in silence for a while. Ray takes a sip of her coffee and winces at its lukewarm temperature. She isn't entirely sure what to do or say, but finally she feels awkward enough to try and make small talk. "So, why do you carry around a mega box of tissues?" Midoriya looks down at the pack, as if he's only just realised he's holding it. "Oh, this?" He smiles, but there's a tinge of sadness to it. Ray almost wants to apologise because she's intruding. "Inko, my wife, was rather emotional," he chuckles, "and Izuku seems to take after her." "Oh." Ray nods. There are several rumours going around the office about Midoriya's wife, and, well, she's curious. "What was she like?" "She was wonderful," Midoriya sighs. "She was so full of love, so kind." He pauses and smiles. "Actually, in a way, she's the reason I wanted to speak with you. I was wondering if your family would like to come over at Christmas." "What?" Ray is certain she must have misheard. Her boss cannot have just invited her over. "Christmas is a small affair," Midoriya shrugs. "It's just me, Izuku, and 2 domestic staff. And my cook always makes too much food. We have more than enough room, and of course I would buy gifts for your whole family." "Why?" "Honestly, it's because Izuku likes Shoto." Midoriya shrugs again, but then adds, "And I think Inko would have loved you." Ray considers it carefully and then nods. "All right. But do you mind if I bring fried chicken?" Midoriya's house is not the huge mansion Ray pictured. It is still nice, of course, and certainly larger than Ray's apartment, but if she had to describe it, the best word would probably be cozy. She would check the address, but the whole neighbourhood is just nice and quiet, not a single posh mansion in sight. Her children aren't nearly as apprehensive as her, and Natsuo eagerly rings on the doorbell. "Merry Christmas!" Midoriya greets them as he opens the door. Ray almost does a double take. Her boss is wearing a Santa hat and a green and white knitted Christmas sweater. He turns and shouts back into the house, "Izuku, Shoto's here!" "Shoto!" Izuku cheers as the Yukiyama family walks into the living room. "This is Makia! Makia, this is Shoto! He's my friend!" Makia is apparently a very large man, wearing reindeer antlers and a red nose. Ray recognises him faintly from the office, although at the time she assumed he was just a security guard Midoriya recruited to watch the boys. The giant beams as they all stare at him, and waves. "Hello! You make little Lord happy! I will protect you!" Shoto is the first of them to recover, and beams as he draws himself up and turns to his family. "This is my big brother Toya, and my sister Fuyumi, and Natsuo." "Why did I not get a proper introduction?" Natsuo grumbles. Fuyumi elbows him in the ribs. "Hi Izuku, it's great to meet you." Toya grins and reaches out to ruffle Izuku's hair. "Shoto's told us a lot about you." "'Cause he's great," Shoto pipes up, obviously not wanting his friend to get the wrong idea. As the children are finishing their introductions, Ray takes the opportunity to look around the room. She's going to get free coffee for a month if she can pass information back to her colleagues after all. The whole room is decked out in a strange assortment of exquisite ornaments and homemade decorations, much like the tree itself, which is taller than Makia, and Ray isn't entirely sure how they even managed to get it through the door. It certainly feels like she stepped into a Christmas card, and she pauses as she spots a very large picture of a green-haired woman placed right next to the tree. Remembering the bucket of fried chicken she's carrying, Ray slips out of the room to find the kitchen. The whole house is so warm, she reflects. She can faintly hear the children laughing, and it brings a smile to her face. She can't quite get over Midoriya's kindness, and wishes she could have found him a decent gift. There is someone in the kitchen, obviously the cook. Ray doesn't want to startle him, so she clears her throat and sets her bag down. The person turns, and Ray gasps. It's you," she whispers, because standing in front of her is Mistman. Natsuo came up with the name, and it seemed appropriate. She knows she's getting emotional, but she can't care. This man gave her family freedom. There is no way she can ever express all the gratitude she feels. Oh fuck, Midoriya mutters behind her. Mistman is here. Midoriya knows about Enji. She got a job at his company with no references under a new name. Thank you so much, she sobs as she turns to her boss. I think she knows, sir, the Mistman states. Whatever would I do without you, Kurogiri? And you, she turns back. She can't decide who she wants to hug first. It's Mistman! Fuyumi exclaims, and the three children are shoving past Midoriya to hug Kurogiri. Is it too late to wipe their memories? Don't you dare, Rei hisses, and she wipes at her eyes. Don't you dare! Then something occurs to her, and suddenly she can't hold back her laughter. Don't tell me you really punched Enji! Midoriya shifts awkwardly. It was an accident? Holy shit, Toya mutters. Guess Shoto wasn't lying. It is not as good as last year, but Christmas is still a success. The big man, Makia, does knock over the tree, twice, and Kurogiri is forced to pop out for more chicken. But Makia is also an immediate success with the younger boys, especially when they head out to catch Santa, and then when Kurogiri arrives back, he also happens to be carrying a few more gifts. I failed! Makia sniffs as the three young boys run back in and spot the new presents. Don't worry, Gigantomakia. Midoriya pats the giant on the arm. Santa is very sneaky. You'll get him next year. Why do you want to catch Santa? Rei asks as the boys start sorting through their presents. Because Little Lord deserves everything. Makia perks up. So I will catch Santa, and then he will have all of the presents. Look, Mum! Fuyumi saves her from having to come up with an appropriate response. Rei tears up when she unwraps the present from her children. It's a photo album, filled to the brim with the few photos they took when they left, and dozens that they've taken since. She is rather puzzled when Midoriya hands her an empty album, until Shoto opens up his gift from the man, and Izuku immediately races off to his room. The first photo in the new album is taken 5 minutes later, of a beaming Shoto and Izuku dressed in matching All Might onesies.